The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more, yes, I'm in, instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox, asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the I'm Not Salesy podcast. I am Cassie McKenzie, your brave and courageous host here. And I have such a fun guest today. Now, y'all know what a mindset and subconscious mind geek I am. And so I can't wait to have this conversation because I have a guest who is also blows my credentials out of the water for NLP and hypnosis and master coaching and all of the things. So, but Brigette Sobus, welcome so much to the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Cassie.
Yay, thank you. So Brigette owns the Power and Joy Coaching Academy and certifies people in NLP and timeline therapy and hypnosis. And so if you guys have heard me talking about NLP and the benefits of, your mindset and the energy and really allowing yourself to, let go of people pleasing. And so Brigette refers to herself as Wonder Woman stunt double and works with the unconscious mind for reprogramming. So welcome, Brigette. I am so excited to talk about the money and the mind and all of the things today. The first question though, so what has been the most interesting story that you have around, I know we talked a little bit before starting around timeline therapy. So what has been the most interesting case or most self-gratifying case that you've worked with, obviously no personal details or anything like that, but
Sure.
With helping somebody overcome a major thing that subconsciously has been holding them back? I want to show people what the power
I can tell you my stories too.
Yeah, go for it. Whichever one. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, with the timeline therapy. Timeline therapy is, it's a technique. I would say it's probably like a hybrid of NLP and hypnosis because it is light trance work. And it really is amazing to, at the unconscious level, let go of high negative emotions like anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, and limiting beliefs. And I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know if you can relate to those voices in our head at times that talk to us, the negative ones that talk to us.
Pillow over top of them sometimes, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't seem to work.
I call that the itty bitty shitty committee.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's the nickname for it. And I mean, I could even just start with myself. The whole reason why I became a trainer of timeline therapy and NLP and hypnosis was I've been a coaching consultant for over a decade, and I've been a coach with the International Coaching Federation. And I would have many coaches, and I've had therapists, and I would have these breakthroughs. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I finally had a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And then something would trigger me off, and I would be right back there. If not maybe right back there, just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I went through a really major divorce in 2010, and it lasted 2 years, which actually led me to be in $1.3 million of personal debt.
Oh.
And then I filed bankruptcy, and all these things. So before timeline therapy, if I were to tell the story, I would be all worked up again. I would be associating back into it, anger, fuel to the fire. And also I was really sick. I used to own a hair salon as well. And it was an award-winning salon. I was producing over $1 million of revenue. but there was always this part of me that like always was on the hamster wheel of
Mhm.
worry, constant obsessing, people pleasing, like that Wonder Woman stunt double that I've actually retired. It's like I would do everything for everybody, but I get the crap kicked out of me.
Yeah.
So the constant worry, like a hamster wheel. So I would say if my anxiety was on a like 1 to 100, it used to be like 150.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So for years, I was like, how can there has to be something. How come I cannot get off of this? I don't,
Mhm.
like the whole survival mechanism thing, like, oh yeah, you can have fun with it. Oh, that's that funny voice again,
Yeah,
whatever.
no.
Um, so I had a mentor of mine, and she would always be like, I'm a master of NLP. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I know you're really amazing. And I, want to be just like you. So I researched some companies, and they're like, oh, you're also going to get timeline therapy and hypnosis. And I was like, I don't know what timeline therapy is, and hypnosis sounds weird, but okay. I'm open. I'm open.
Cluck like
And
a chicken, right?
what do you say?
Everybody thinks like you're gonna end up clucking like a chicken or doing like
Oh, I
hypnosis
know.
stuff.
Or your mind's going to be controlled.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
your mind will not be in control. You are always whoever's in hypnosis, you are in control. And all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Yeah,
So we
for
should be talking
sure.
about that too. And I just knew, I'm like, for some reason I had this, my intuition was like, something is really going to change for you going into this program.
Yeah.
I wasn't even halfway through my program, and I was like, am I not mad at this anymore? Have I really let that go? And then I was like, I knew it was a calling. I was like, I have to learn how to do this work and certify people. So I like made that decision in my first training of the work. And then after I got through the training, I was just having these massive breakthroughs. I got fired by my own therapist.
What?
Therapist fired me. Who gets fired by their therapist? Like, because I was going to my therapist, and she would be like, so what do you want to work on today? And I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And like I had a coach at the time too that would support me on my mindset, and like how I
Mhm.
would like what my practices were going to be on certain people that would trigger me.
Yeah.
Like, so let's talk about this and what no, I'm good. No, I'm good. And then I decided to, end the relationship with him because I was good. It
Yeah.
was so crazy.
Because
Crazy,
the
right?
timeline therapy had helped so much that you were good, that you really didn't need the help from your therapist and coach anymore.
Yeah, like that style. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now I'm in a place where if I get triggered by something, it's like I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. What
Hmm.
do I have to heal? What do
Yeah.
I have to heal? And what work do I have to do to like let that stuff go? And I have the tools to do it,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome. So I will say that was one of the biggest things for me, was like it truly got me off the hamster wheel. And my anxiety, I probably would say it's now like a 2 or 3 at times, if
Yeah.
it even gets like that. And I absolutely still get I can still get angry, but it's
Yeah.
not like it was like before. It was like the ball and chain of negative emotions
Hmm.
dragging behind me or fueling up. And now it's just like when I get angry, I'm like, okay, all right, what did I learn? What do I have to do? I feel the emotion, and then I let it go.
Yeah. I think so many people are afraid to feel the emotion because they've been told that it's wrong, or that it's not gonna, or they're afraid it's gonna lead someplace that isn't safe too, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, it just with like a client I recently just did breakthrough work with. She was running a very successful spa,
Mhm.
and she was a people pleaser. Like she could not handle like letting people go, writing them up. She would make excuses because she'd be so worried about their paychecks. She was putting every single person like behind, in front of her and
Yeah.
suffering. And after the breakthrough work that we did, she was like, oh my gosh, I can have conversations. I can hold people accountable. I let this person go that was like toxic in my environment,
Hmm.
and I feel good about it,
Yeah.
so, not that we want to go out around firing people, but sometimes you got to let people go that are not serving your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of business, right?
So
So
how I like so you say in your bio and everything around the like the power and joy and a lot of like intentional profit, right? And wealth. So how does your work play into helping your clients make more money and experience more wealth and everything?
yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I've had people that I worked with that after they take my certification program or work with me, because of the mindset shift,
Hmm.
they are like, they're doubling their income, having 50% increases. One of my students, Mary, she had taken some of my consulting programs before. She's in the service industry, and she did well. She would have, she'd have growth. But then after she took my first certification program, the very next month, she worked 10 days less.
Mm.
And she went from averaging 6,000 a month to like over 10,000 a month. And
Awesome.
like just the next month, and she
Yeah.
attributes it to all mindset work. And then it got another, and then we kept working less, kept making more. She got an international educator position that she'd been looking
Oh.
for to have for like a decade, and she was ready to give up on getting that position. And then
Hmm.
she's like, and then I got the position. So
That's so
now
cool.
she's developing her own coaching programs. So it really, she I think she bought them. I don't know what the website's called. Mindset is everything.
Oh,
She
fun. Yeah.
literally attributes her success. It's the mindset.
Yeah.
Like she had to let go of limiting beliefs. And
Hmm.
I have other stories like that too.
Yeah, I feel like innately some people are just so great at executing strategy and taking action instead of, whereas some other people might be paralyzed by the fear or try to like, um, you know, overthink things before taking any action. And so
Yeah.
a lot of times, like that's what I started to notice in myself like a while back was that I would follow the strategies and I would do the right things, but like no matter what strategy I tried, it would still like the launch would fail, even though I've been a sales rep for 20 years. So I was like, what in the hell is going on? There's gotta be some sort of like subconscious belief going on here that is running the show that's like, no, you're not safe to be successful, and
Yeah.
so it was crazy to then because I took myself through that process, of like writing it all out and seeing what came up and like what voices are there that are telling me these things that, and there was a couple of really major ones that came up that made a lot of sense that then, I had to work through in order to see a different result. But as far as your client Mary, what were what were some of the mindset blocks that she had? Because I'm sure the listeners will probably resonate with that too. Love hearing that. And how did you use the timeline therapy to walk her through that over to the other side?
Yeah. It's a lot of the limiting beliefs were like, I can't charge enough. I can't raise my
Mm.
prices. They can't afford it. I'm not good enough. If you hear snorting in the background, it's my dog. Uh,
It's my pot-bellied pig, don't worry.
but limiting, just like the limiting
Yeah.
beliefs, like that negative self-talk, like I'm not worth it, they're
Mhm.
gonna leave me if I raise my prices, like things like that, like
Mhm.
the worry, probably the fear, letting go of the fear. So with the timeline therapy, it's letting go of those five major negative emotions that I had shared in the
Mhm.
beginning, was one of them being fear.
Mhm.
And then supporting her with the timeline therapy and like letting go of those other limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So
Can you
when I work with somebody one-on-one, I do a personal detailed history questionnaire where I'm really asking you questions for about 2 hours
Yeah.
to like dig out even unconsciously those limiting beliefs that you may not be seeing.
Yeah.
Because 95% of our behaviors are running at our unconscious, so we're not
Yeah.
even aware of it.
Right. So what do you do if somebody doesn't quite remember? Like maybe they had a traumatic childhood or
Yeah.
whatever, like they just blocked it out, and you're asking them all of these questions, but they're like, I told you the answers. Don't know what else to tell you, lady.
That's a great question, because to be honest with you, so one of the questions I ask in the beginning of timeline therapy, I was like, what is the root cause of this problem? When disconnected is going to cause the problem to disappear? If you were to know, was it before, during, or after your birth? That's like the go-to question.
Yeah.
And I already like let my clients know. I said, you consciously won't even probably remember the first event, because
Yeah.
most likely it's either through the ages of 0 to 7, which is the imprinting years. That's
Yeah.
when a little unconscious mind is like being programmed, and we're just like, we're sponges. We're just absorbing things, the good and the bad, right? And or like, so this is, this is whatever. I've worked with so many people, even religious. I've worked with people that are Christian based, that go into a past life. Like actually, it doesn't really matter. A lot of it's about imagination and, quantum physics type stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll let them know. And I'm like, this is where we're going to start working with your unconscious mind to get in rapport. All right. So I'm going to ask your unconscious mind.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, I don't know, 17 years old. Let's say it's a 40-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ask your unconscious mind, was 17 the first event, which when disconnected will cause it to disappear? No. Okay. What's the next one? 10. All right, great. All I do is I just guide my client back in there. If the biggest thing is that you stay disassociated from the event. Like there's no like going back. Like, actually, I don't even want to know what the event was. I tell my clients, do not talk about the event. You're going to just look at it through your own eyes. The best way to describe it is like, you are like Ebenezer Scrooge, right? Going back in time and watching his past self, right? So you're getting like positive learnings. Easily enough for us to let it go. So most of the time, and then when I know, so when you say trauma, right? So if someone has a traumatic experience, I'm making sure that they're high above the event, they're floating really far back, and they're very disassociated. And I just say, just trust your unconscious mind is going to go to the first event, which you most likely won't remember it. And then they're going back, and then they're getting their learnings. And then what happens is, as they're coming back on their timeline, it's like, consider like a weed. You pull the weed out and you leave roots behind, it grows back, but we're working on getting all the roots so that it's disconnected. And then as you're coming back on your timeline, it's starting to pop off. Like, let's just say it's anger. Anger is starting to pop off on events. All the way back to now. And then I have them test, and I'd be like, all right, now think about something that you used to be angry about and notice if you can find that emotion, or you may find that you cannot. And then they're like,
all right, she's looking around and looking
I
around.
can't find it. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, go check another event. And they're like, no, it's gone. Like, they're like, it's gone. And then I'm like, all right, do some future. Then we do some future testing, like go in the future. Because you can do timeline therapy work with your future. So you can go into your future and also set goals into your conscious mind, into your future timeline. So your conscious mind is the goal setter, and then your unconscious mind becomes the goal getter.
Do you know, that is so fascinating to me, because like when we, on the very last day, so my experience, I always start like 3 sentences at once, and I need to go back and do timeline therapy to find out where that all started, but I'd probably come back with all 3 memories all at once. And so, but okay, when I went and got my NLP certification from Transform Destiny, it's you've heard of them, but they
I think I have. I think I've seen their website.
Michael Stevenson is the owner, and this was back in 2019 February. Oh my god. 3 however many years ago that was. I can't believe it's been that long. Anyway, so we did all the things too. So that hypnosis, life coaching, timeline there, but they call it time techniques, because I think it's a issue with you know, like legal issue
The
or whatever.
Tad, yeah, the Tad James Company probably. Because
Yeah,
Tad,
maybe.
well, Tad James was the founder. They trademarked. Yeah, I guess I gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's what. So anyway, so the whole week, we were there for 8 days. My husband and I both did it together, and we did like the 50 hours of pre-work prior to going. And we were there for 8 days straight in Atlanta. And the whole time, the first 7 days, when I had to make a picture of something, I just like, it would kind of come in, and then, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 1 where I could make a picture. And then we would like debrief on the way home. And I got, by like the 5th day, I was so pissed off because he'd be like, oh yeah, I was doing this and that. Like everything worked out so perfectly for him. And like by the end of the training, I was like, motherfucker, like this was my idea. Damn it.
You mean like when I'm just curious, like, do you mean when you say like, because some of the techniques is like, when you think about that, do you have a picture?
Yeah.
You ask so you're having a challenge visualizing?
Visualizing. Yeah.
Oh,
And like even the timeline therapy part, like when you float above the
oh,
timeline to
okay.
go see the event, like I would go back in time, but like my conscious brain, I feel like maybe it wasn't down, like we were all in one big room too. And so, you know, kind of could have been distracting and stuff like that.
Consider you're more kinesthetic.
Oh, I
That's
am
what I
actually.
would think. I would think you're a kinesthetic. So by what you're saying to me, if I was working with you,
Yeah.
I would say, we would work on more of the kinesthetic side. Because there
Oh.
are some people that are more kinesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go that route versus like the visual side.
Yeah.
That's what I would think.
So like what you're feeling instead,
Yeah.
like back then, okay, yeah, because yeah, I get like I got little chills when you said that. It's like hello, confirmation, but like it was because he's very visual or considers himself, and now ever since over the last 4 years, I've spent some time like developing psychic gifts and things like that, and seeing pictures. It's not as hard as it was before. You know, I've developed that side a little better, but the 8th day, so the day we were leaving, right before we left, we did this exercise where it was put a goal into the future.
Mhm.
And it was the first time, the whole time, that I could visualize the whole thing.
Okay.
It was about, and what I visualized was us moving here to St. Pete Beach. And like I imagined us like standing on the beach at sunset by this big pink hotel that's near us called the Don Cesar, and seeing, and I always check to make sure like my kids are running around, you know, and like everybody's there in the picture. And like the kind of, we were celebrating buying a house here, and literally that was February, and at the end of June of that year we bought this house. And we were actually standing out the next, I think it was like that day or the next day, out at the dawn, like in the exact same spot, but we were kind of like on the other side of the hotel, but it was still at the same light at sunset. And I looked up and the Don Cesar was there, and everybody was running around. I was like, oh my God.
I love that. That's so cool. That's
And so
amazing.
it was crazy because like in you know, if you're listening and you don't know about these types of techniques, like in this particular one, you think of a goal and you make a picture and you add all of the senses to it to make it really real, and you put it in the future and you slam it down into the timeline, and you see, like, when I did that, I could see all the little ripples along the way, like lights flashing, and I could hear people and different cheers
Oh,
and shit like that. Like it was crazy, and I was like, oh my God, I think I did it.
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh, thank God, it finally worked for me. And then so that was so much fun. So I definitely know that technique, because that's one that is for the record books. I mean, you can't compare it. So, oh, that's so cool.
It's a cool technique. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And you know, like as far as okay, so when you I just love this whole topic, it's so cool. So I can't even start. Why am I starting like 5 different sentences at once? Maybe I think I need to do some
We
timeline
can
therapy.
talk about all 5 at once. It's
I
okay.
know I should. I don't tempt me because I will. Okay. So I was talking to you earlier though about the hypnosis that I did. And I do want to go back to this conversation because it's something I feel like needs to be talked about with like dispelling some of the thoughts around hypnosis and what it is, as well as the benefits and how to best use it. Because I know people might be tempted to go find scripts on the internet and use those and think it's some big long complicated thing that involves a watch going back and forth and and it doesn't, like it's like you
Or
said.
like, or
Yeah,
like, oh, I would say
that's what I mean. Yeah, the pendulum.
no, it's not there. We
Yeah.
don't use the pendulum for this.
No,
That's
no,
not what we do.
exactly. And so, can you talk about a time that like hypnosis is just like a time that people wouldn't normally expect that you've used hypnosis to help a client overcome limiting beliefs, and like how long did that process take? What does it look like, and what would you recommend for people as they're, diving into this side of coaching,
Yeah.
because it's something that is so accessible but rarely talked about and very misunderstood.
Yes, definitely misunderstood. I mean, I misunderstood. I just didn't know,
Yeah.
and like I would say even meditation and hypnosis, they're
Yeah,
very,
they are.
so it's like, let's just even think about trance work. People are going in and out of trance all the time.
Mhm.
You like, think about it. Have you been in your car and you've driven from point A to B, and then before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, how did I get there?
Yeah.
Or have you ever been listening to the radio and all of a sudden you're like, I can't stand this song. Why am I
Yeah.
listening to this?
Right.
It's because
Yeah.
you're in trance.
Yeah.
Or like, you could be in trance with somebody else, like trance rapport. You could be at a restaurant gazing into your significant other's eyes, and then someone starts talking to you guys and you're like, oh, I didn't even know you were there. Or
Yeah.
television.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Programming. Yep.
yes, thank you. Consider television is called television programming for a reason. Just saying,
Mhm.
everyone,
Yeah.
be mindful of what's going into your unconscious mind. I can give an example of one of the reasons why I have to say that.
Yeah.
But trance is super natural, and all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And your unconscious mind will not do something that is against your values.
Mhm. Yeah.
So let's just say I was like putting you into trance, and I was like, and now, Cassie, you're going to go rob a bank and get $1 million, and you're going to put it in my bank account.
Yeah.
You would not do that
Mhm.
unless you were a bank robber, maybe,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't do that. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you will not do anything that is outside of your moral values.
Right.
The best ways I love using it though is to actually reinstall positive learnings.
Mhm.
It's to reinstall positive learnings. That is my go-to on how to use it with people. I personally fall asleep maybe 5 nights a week to hypnosis
Yeah.
audios. I love Steve G Jones and
Ooh.
John Moyer.
Mhm.
They're my favorite right
Ooh,
now.
I'm gonna
Right
look it up. I'm gonna write these down.
Yeah, I love those. I love those too. But I love listening to hypnosis. It's just reinstalling
Mhm.
beautiful things and help uninstalling the negative belief systems.
Mhm. You're
You
right.
can use it for so many things. I mean, I had one of my students, her and her two sons were, I can't remember what they were doing, some martial arts class, but they were going for like a very hard level of belt. I don't know which one it was, but what she did with it was she recorded hypnosis audios, and then her and her sons were listening to it before they went and did their test, and they all passed.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Was it
Yeah.
around their abilities and having confidence, or around
Yeah,
their
I think it was like their abilities and having confidence. So, I
yeah.
mean, trance is just, and then there, if you even just a practice, there's a one of the first techniques I teach my students is called the learning state. And
Yeah.
all you need to do is you need to just stare up 4 feet in front of you at a dot. And then it's like you're focusing in on it. And then you're expanding your periphery. So you're seeing like you're expanding that out. And then you go into light trance. And that helps with learning and retaining information. So trance has tons of benefits. However, like I said, my whole thing, we're all free and clear of this, but like, I remember this, I was maybe a year ago, I was on my computer, and the television was on. I wasn't really paying attention to it. My boyfriend was watching the news, and all of a sudden I hear out of the corner, like I hear, and everyone is terrified. And I'm like, no wonder why the whole world's like
Right.
scared and crazy. Cause
Yeah.
like we're all
Yeah.
free and clear of this, by the way. So you're hearing that, just reject that. But just
Yeah.
consider, I just say be mindful of what is getting programmed into your mind.
Yeah.
Just you can say things to me, your mind, like unconscious mind, only accept things that are good for me and reject the things that no longer serve me.
Yes. That's a good prayer to say at night.
Oh yeah, it's really good. I teach my students, there's like a script I teach my students to like
Yeah.
say to themselves or have them install it when they're taking my trainings or my clients. But
Yes. That's
hypnosis, please. Those movies are fun to watch, but they're not real.
yeah. It
You
always
have to do
reminds
some
me.
major, you got to do some major torture to somebody to
Yeah.
like mind control. Like you have to deprive them of food, sleep.
Yeah.
Like it would have to be pretty bad.
Yeah. Like that show. Well, there was a movie with Miles Teller in it that we saw recently, but they were like giving them certain drugs and then making them do certain things. Like it was causing their mind control or impulses and stuff like that. I forget. It was called Spiderhead. It was crazy. It was a good movie, but it was crazy. But like, and I love Miles Teller. I can't resist. But I always think of The Office Space, like the scene, like you ever seen Office Space? It was a movie, it was like from the 90s that Jennifer Aniston was in it, but
Oh
it was
yeah, I saw it a while where
yeah,
she was like working at like a sort of like a Friday
Flingers.
place
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
yeah, I saw it so long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Where like the main character goes to hypnosis and ends up like the guy performing the hypnosis, his therapist or whatever, ends up
Uh-huh.
dying of like a heart attack. And so he gets like stuck in trance, even though you can't get stuck in trance. But
Oh.
then like he goes from being so paranoid about losing his job to just feeling like, you know, it's all fine. I'm not worried. Like, let them fire me. And then the consultants were like, he's a good person. Like, the less he gave a shit, like, the more they were like, he's a high value employee. We need to keep him around. It's just so funny now to go back and see it. I love that movie.
I've got to rewatch that
Yeah.
movie now.
So, and then if somebody is going to record a hypnosis for themselves, just in case you guys look into it, which I suggest you get trained by a professional like Brigette, please, like go do the right thing. But if you happen to find something like we were taught that it's even more powerful if you record it in your own voice, because then it's your voice telling your subconscious mind. Can you explain a little bit about that, just in case this is an avenue that they want to learn about too?
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I know I have a really good friend and colleague of mine that she has her master's in NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis, and she does it. And she actually sent me her hypnosis recordings. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Um, but no, I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's what that would speaks to you, I don't know if I want to hear my own voice. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's
But
okay.
I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that happening. It's like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah,
So maybe I'm gonna have a shift now and be like, maybe I should.
maybe I should try it. Yeah, and then, and don't worry, like if you fall asleep listening to the hypnoses, because that makes it even more powerful, right? Because you're not
That's
fighting
my
against
favorite.
it. Okay.
I will literally I found like John Moyer has one that's like 3.5 hours long.
Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's 3.5 hours long. I have like a YouTube music subscription.
Mhm.
So just Google John Moyer like sleep hypnosis and I'm sure it'll come up. It's literally like 3.5 hours.
Love it.
And sometimes I listen to ones with I think it's his wife, Rochelle, I think, and she does one on money and I'll listen to those. I just think they're great, but I personally listen to most of them when I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
I did get certified in Reiki last weekend,
Oh,
Reiki
fun.
1 and 2. So actually this morning I was listening to all these Reiki trance
I love it.
in a hot tub, if you believe it.
Oh, that's amazing. How perfect.
I
Yeah.
was like meditating in a hot tub. It was pretty nice. Yeah, it was cool.
I tried doing one of
As
those.
I'm turning bright red telling you the story.
No, it's fine. You're taking yourself back to that time where you felt hot in the hot tub doing Reiki. Oh my God, I love it. So, okay, Bridget, please tell everybody where they can come find you and what sort of courses and things that you're offering if they
Yeah.
want to explore into becoming certified in NLP or any of the other modalities we talked about.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I have my website is powerandjoycoachingacademy.com. Anyone can email me at Brigette, Brigette, at Brigette, Sobus.com. I usually reply back within 24 hours. But I have a certification programs. I certify my first level program. I certify in 4 different internationally recognized certifications: NLP coach, NLP practitioner, timeline therapy, and hypnosis.
Mhm.
That is my. So you said that you did an 8-day intensive.
It was
Um,
8 day in person, yeah, and then
okay.
like 50 hours prior to getting to that.
Yeah. So I have like I do a 7-day intensive and it's all online. My
Yeah.
courses are
Oh,
online and
cool.
there's like 10-hour days. They're
Yes.
they're intense. But I have pre-study audios as
Yeah.
well. So
Mhm.
there's pre-work to do. So I have that first level certification. I have a master's certification which is almost 2 weeks
Mhm.
long. I'm launching. I'm like starting to tell everyone I'm launching my first ICF certification program.
Oh, fun.
I'm like all coaching, like I love coaching. So I
Yay.
was like, I just want to certify in all five modalities.
Right. Yeah. It makes
And then
sense.
over time, I don't know, after I took this Reiki course, maybe I'm going to become a Reiki trainer. I'm not
There
sure.
you go.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so I have those courses and then I'm doing an international retreat in November in Costa Rica. I do one-on work. I love doing breakthrough work.
Mhm.
Where I work with people specifically like for either an 8-hour intensive where
Mhm.
I'm doing that mindset work with the timeline therapy. I'm doing it within like, let's get this done like within 1 to 2 weeks and like 4 2-hour sessions. We're
Mhm.
just doing like that deep dive. And then I also do one-on-one with women,
Mhm.
like, um 3-day retreats
Oh,
where
fun.
we're going to be like one-on-one doing like all that mindset work.
Yeah.
It's almost like an identity shift. You're still you, but
Totally.
you have like an
Yeah.
identity shift of really releasing any trauma that's has been lingering on there. Like it's like really peeling the layers of the onion. It's pretty amazing. So I have retreats with women to do 3 days intensive. So those are the prime modalities on how I work with people.
Ah, I love it. Well, listen, guys, if you're feeling the pull, go check out Bridget because this work really is super high impact and really transformational. And once you do it and you get a feel for it, you'll realize like, oh my God, where's this been my whole life, you know? And I feel like also if you're at all into like the psychic and intuitive side of things, like when I started exploring psychic gifts and, some of like the like putting, that kind of doing like meditations or abundance activations or multidimensional work too, I started to see, and opening clair gifts and stuff like that, I started to see the parallels between that and NLP. And I was like, wait a minute, hang on a second. Like,
Pretty
there's
cool.
yeah, it is. It's so cool. So definitely go check Brigette out. And thank you so much for being a guest. I am so excited for you and for everything that you're doing with your clients too. So thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and tell your friends about it too, since we're new here, and go leave a review. And if you leave a review, I might read it on the show. And I'm going to be offering a special gift too for you if you leave a review. So just, oh my gosh, sorry, somebody knocked on my door. I think it's my 5-year-old and scared the shit out of me. I just jumped out of my pants. But like, but definitely take a picture and you can send it to me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, and I will reply with your special gift. So I'm at Cassie McKenzie on LinkedIn and XO Cassie McKenzie on Instagram. So thanks everybody. And thank you, Brigette. I can't wait to see you all on the next episode. Bye. I want you to imagine for a second that you are the type of person who feels completely confident when you're promoting your programs, and you know exactly what to say and do and how to say it and how to do it during all of your sales conversations, so that you get on the phone with people who are already pre-sold asking, how can we get started, without you even having to pitch them. How amazing would that be? Now, this is the type of result that you can expect in the Sales Queen Takeover Mastermind. This is my new mastermind that's starting in March. And this will change the course of your business forever, because you will not only attract people who want to buy, but you'll start attracting leaders who want to stay with you a long time and keep working with you. So if you are a coach or consultant or creative who wants to easily fill out and sell your programs with your ideal fit clients and start hearing way more of a yes and no more getting ghosted, then DM me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Cassie McKenzie on LinkedIn or at XO Cassie McKenzie on Instagram, and DM me the word takeover so that we can talk about how this will change the course of your business, and I can share some of my secrets around, give you some ideas you can implement immediately based off of what you're doing currently and what you can be doing in a non-salesy way to make more sales and to really feel proud and feel powerful when you're selling, because it becomes more fun, right? It's more fun, easy, and effortless. So DM me on social media to talk about this, or you can book a call by hitting up the show notes, the link in the show notes, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. If you loved this episode of I'm Not Salesy, then go ahead and hit subscribe so that you're notified of the next episode. And also leave a 5-star rating and a review. And if you send it to the link in the show notes, we will send you a present in return. We also love to feature reviews on the podcast as well. So we'd love to feature yours. So go ahead and send a screenshot to the inbox and come find me on social media. I love hearing what you're up to and how you're becoming not salesy too. I'll see you in the next episode.